Hello guys, in this video I am going to tell you about the different image transforms that we can do in MATLAB. So I have shown you the different transformations that we can do in my computer vision series. So we have seen how can we rotate a particular image by using this particular transformation matrix. We can also scale a image, or we can do affine transform, or we can do homography transform. So these are the different transforms that we can do just by using this transformation matrix. So we are going to see in this video how can we practically implement this in MATLAB. So this is the code. Now before explaining you this code, let us first run the code and see what different outputs can the code give, and also we can see what different inputs do we have to give to the code so that it can give the different corresponding outputs. So let us run and see. So when we run the code, it opens this file browser where you can browse the particular image that you want to transform, and you can just open that. Next, it says press 1 for rotate and 2 for transform. So if you just want to rotate this image, then you can press 1, and if you want to transform it by transforming matrix, you have to manually enter the transformation matrix, then you can press 2. So for now, let us first rotate the image and see, and then we'll see transform. So I'll press 1. It asks you enter angle in degrees. So how much degree do you want to rotate the image? So let me put 30 for now. So it will rotate this image by 30 degrees in the anti-clockwise direction. Next, it asks you whether you want to do a further transform. So you can do some 3D transformation, some transformation by 3D rotation basically. So the homography, in homography we have seen that how can we do 3D rotation. So you can further do that. So for now, let us do simple rotation. We'll see this in a moment. So I am pressing 2. Right, so here you can see this is the original image, and you can see that the image is rotated by 30 degrees in the anti-clockwise direction. You can see that. Also, it asks you whether you want to save this image, the transformed image. Do you want to save it? So you can press 1 if you want to save. So let us see. So it asks you where do you want to save this image. So again it opens this file browser. You can type the name whatever you want. So let me say rotate30.jpg. So please remember this extension is very important. So rotate30.jpg and press save. So once you do that, the program is over, and you will see that this particular image is saved in that particular file location that you mentioned. Right, now let us see the different other things. So let me again run the code. Again let me choose. So now let us transform this particular image. So now let me put 2. So it asks you to enter the transformation matrix. So now I have to manually enter all the elements of the transformation matrix. So please remember this transformation matrix. This matrix over here is our transformation matrix. So for rotation, you know that it is only this p that you want in rotation, because the other form we have this formulas cos theta sin p cos p. So with that you can automatically create this matrix that you want to rotate the image. But if you want to do something else, like you want to do affine, or say you want to do homography, so for that you will have to manually enter the elements h11, h12, h23 like this. So let us do that. So for now let us take a case of affine. So suppose I want to do some skewness in x direction. So I have done 1 1. So that is, if you see this over here, so h11 I have made 1, h12 1, this is 0. Then I'll make this 0, I'll make this 1, 0 0 0 1. So this will be an input for now. So 110, next a semicolon, so that it indicates that I am going to the next row. So now 010, again a semicolon for the last row, and that is 001. So these are my parameters for affine. So I want to do affine transform such that it is skewed in x direction. Right, so here you can see that this particular image is skewed in the x direction like this, and it gives a pretty nice output. Next, it again asks you, do you want to save the image? So let me press 2 for now. So this will not save the image. Now let me run again so that I can show you the 3D rotation. So let me go to the image, choose this. So now I'm doing first rotation, so let me rotate it by 30 degrees, and now let us do a further transform. So for further transform, I'll have to press 1. So now it asks you for the 3D rotation as a row vector. So we know that for rotation, for normal rotation, we need these 4 parameters. So h11, h12, h21, h22, these parameters, as you can see over here, are predefined for rotation. So I put p is equal to 30, the angle. So cos 30, sin 30, sin 30, cos 30. So this is done. I don't want any translation. So now for the 3D rotation, so a rotation like this, what I'll have to do is I'll have to give this parameters 3, h31, h32 and h33. So it asks you only for these parameters, these below parameters. So that is what it is asking for. So let me put that. So let me do 0.0008. Also please understand that these have to be small numbers, because you can see that over here. So when you do a 3D movement of the plane, these numbers that you do, so you can see over here, this is 0.005. Still it has a lot of 3D rotation over here. So these numbers are very sensitive, so you cannot put a very big number over there, so you have to see that. So please so it will give an error, that's all, if you put a big number over here, or else it will give an error, or else you will see that the image is distorted a lot. So let me just do 3D rotation in the x direction, and let us see what is the output. Right, so here you can see that first I have rotated this image 30 degrees. So this is 30 degrees first rotated, and then it is further rotated in 3 dimensions. So that is a homography transform that we have seen. So we can do this 3D rotation of this image. So this actually looks like it is actually behind the plane. So it is in 3D in behind, like that. So this is like the perspective transform that you can see. So like this you can give different inputs to this algorithm, and it will give you corresponding outputs. So now that we have seen what are the different inputs and what are the different outputs, now let us see how can we make or code this particular program. So first I am taking the input image, so that is to get that file browser we use a UI get file. So this particular command opens the file browser, and it gives the path of the folder in the path variable, and the file name, the name of the image. So you can see over here so over here this particular thing is my sorry, path, right? So this particular thing is the path of the image, that is the folders, the in which folder it is located. And if you see file, so file has the name of the image, so d2.jpg is the name of the image. Next we use full file, this particular command, to concatenate both path and the file, so that I get the full path of the image or the full name of the image, which I can pass to the IMRead. Right. So now this particular thing that I have done over here is to not give an error if I press cancel. So now suppose I run this particular code and I did this by mistake, or I wanted to do something else, and if suppose I do cancel over here, then what it will do is it will not do anything, that is it will not give an error if you don't put this line over here. Suppose, so let me comment this for now, and if I run the code and if I put a cancel over here, then it will give this error. So this does not look nice. So in order to avoid that, these three lines are there, so that I don't get this error over here if in case I press cancel. Right, so this is only when I press cancel. If I don't press cancel, then it is fine, then no problem. So next I am reading that particular file over here. So A has my image, the image that I want to transform. Now these if and else conditions are just for the input. So how you saw which different input types we have. So let me run the code and let me debug it so that I can show you side by side. Also, so now you saw that I pressed run section. So if you put two of these, so that is two percentage signs, then it makes a section. So one percentage sign will do comment, and if you do two percentage signs, you can see this is a section that is created. So you can also run a particular section in MATLAB, so that is this run section. So it will only run this particular thing till here. So that is also one thing which you can use to debug your code, so that it is better to understand, also better to understand where are the errors, etc. So now let us see this thing. So let me put a breakpoint over here so that I can explain you side by side. So now let me run the section. Oh, also it is very important to save this particular file. So here you can see the breakpoint is gray color. That means the file is not saved. So in order to make this red, that is to make it active, you have to press Ctrl S, so that you are saving the file. Okay, before that you will have to run this particular thing. So press 1 for rotate. So say I want to rotate angle 40 degrees, and no, nothing else. Right, so here now I have saved this code, so hence this becomes red. So this is active only when it is red. If you see that gray color over there, that means that is not active. Now let me run the section. So you can see it has stopped over here. So input, this particular command asks for a user input. So when I press step, it will ask for a user input with press 1 for rotate and 2 for transform. So I can press anything. So let me press 1 for now. So if I press 1, so in has the input. If I press 1, it goes over here. So it will go in this if loop, and it will ask for angle. What is the angle that you want? So let me say 30 degrees for now. So the angle is 30 degrees, so that is stored in this particular angle variable. Next it is asking for further transform. Do you want to do further transform? So for that I'll have to press right. So for further transform, so I'll say no further transform for now. So it will skip this section for now, no further transform. And here what it will do is first convert your angle which is in degree to radian. So this is the formula for that, degree to radian conversion. And then this is the transformation matrix that we have for rotation. So the first thing that you can see, so you can see that over here. So if you just want rotation, that means there is no scaling, so there will be no a and b. So it is just cos p, sin p, cos p. So these four. So the same thing is written over here: cos angle in radian, sin angle in radian, then there is 0, so no translation, so this is for translation, minus sine cos 0, no translation, and no 3D rotational parameters over here. So like this you can make the transformation matrix for the rotation case. So other things are also quite easy to understand. If you want to input the transformation matrix by yourself, that I did before, so then you just have to take input as a enter transformation matrix, and that will be saved in A. So I'm saving my transformation matrix in capital A, you can see that. So like this I have formatted this input so that I can ask the user what do you actually want to transform the image, how do you want to actually transform the image, and it will make the transformation matrix as desired. So now that is done. So over here, after these input statements, your transformation matrix is created and it is saved in A. So I have my transformation matrix in A variable. Okay. So now my code works for both color images and for grayscale images. So here this particular thing over here is just to know whether the given image is a color image or whether is it a grayscale image. If it is a grayscale, then A1 will be 0, because then it will not go into this loop and it will not get updated. And if it is color, then A1 will be 1. So in our case it was color, hence you can see A1 is 1. So these are some minor details of MATLAB. So we have not still gone into the actual code. So convert this to double for maths operation. So now the actual code actually starts. The actual transform code starts from here. So bring origin to the center by this matrix. So I'll tell you first what is the significance of this thing over here. So first let us see that. So now we have seen this particular thing in my homography video, how we can do the 3D movement of plane, and I had visualized this particular thing in Desmos. So now one thing that I wanted to tell you is the origin matters for the 3D movement of the plane. So if my origin, so this point over here is the origin of this coordinate axis. So this point over here is 0, 0. So when the image is centered at the origin, that means the center of the image is at the origin, then you can see this kind of a 3D movement. So you can see the whole image is sort of moving in 3 dimension. So you can see this like this. But what happens in the program or MATLAB kind of a thing, that actually your image origin is over here for MATLAB, because in MATLAB all the images are nothing but matrices. So this particular element over here is considered to be the first element, that is 1, 1 in MATLAB, or in Python it is 0, 0 from here. So actually for program, this top left corner is the origin. So now what happens is, if you do a 3D rotation on this, so this kind of a output will be seen. That is, you will see that these things are actually preserved. The top and this left edge will get preserved, and only other things will get transformed. So this particular thing has lot of effect in 3D movement of the plane. So it is on you. Do you want to transform this? Do you want to transform the image like this by this particular rotation, or do you want to transform it like this? So this depends upon you. How do you want to transform this particular image? So for this thing, for putting this particular image from this top left to bringing this particular image to the center, you need that matrix that I have mentioned over there, the trans matrix. So this trans matrix is to bring the image to the center, that is, bring the origin of the image to the center. So this particular matrix only does that. So I'll show you the output what happens if I don't do this, and what happens if I keep this. So for now, let us remove trans and see the output. So it will give you a better visualization. So now I have removed the trans um, from the code, and let us see the 3D rotation. How is the 3D rotation? Oops, there was this breakpoint over here. Right, so it asks me for a rotation or transform. So let me say 0 rotation, and I want to do a through 2D transform. So, and the row vector is this thing. Right, so here you can see this is how it is rotated in 3D for the first case when I have removed the trans matrix. So that is, I have not centered this image in the origin. So this is the origin for this particular transform, and this is the transformed image that it has got. Now let me introduce, so I'll not do close all now. Let us compare both the images, and now let me put this trans. So let me put trans. So now there is this transformation that is going to happen, that is the origin is going to get shifted to the center of the image. Do you want to save the image? No saving of image. Now let us again run with the trans and see what output we get. So let me rotate with 0 degrees, and I want to do transform, 3D transform. The same transform I am applying that I had done with the previous image. Yes, so here you can see the difference. So this without transform, this gave an image like this. So you can see the top vertex, the top edge and the left edge is kind of preserved. It is kind of the same. But over here you can see that this has gone like this. So instead of this being like this, it is like this. So this all depends on how do you want to transform this image. So with that you can use the different transformations over here. So it is actually a practice to bring the image to the image centered at the origin. So because of that I have used this trans matrix over here. So this trans just brings the origin to the center of the image. And if you see, it is just a translation matrix. You can see that it has, so if you see this trans matrix over here, where is trans? Oops, I have to first run this. Right, so here you can see the trans. So you can see that this actually there is nothing over here. So this is identity, so no rotation, nothing. So it has just numbers over here. So we know that these two numbers are for translation. So this is just pure translation to bring the origin to the center. That's it. And how do you do that? So that is by the size. So b of 2 is the number of columns divided by 2. So that is my x translation. This much I want to translate in x, and this much I want to translate in y. So simple as that. Next, now let me pre-allocate some memory for my output. So out x is going to have the location of the transformed coordinates of the transformed image, of the output image, and out y is going to have the y coordinates of the transformed image. So let us see what is the main algorithm over here. So for all the pixels from I going from 1 to b1 and for j going from 1 to b2, what we do is, this is the main transform equation. So we know that the transform equation is like this. This x and y are nothing but the coordinates of this image, the original image. So x comma y, so if I have a pixel over here, so its x comma y will be something, say in matrix language, in MATLAB language, it will be say 1 comma 1. The top right is nothing but 1 comma 1. So this 1 comma 1 will come over here, x1 y1, and this is 1, and that will get multiplied with this transformation matrix that we have, and we will get x double dash, y double dash and w. So this is precisely what I am doing in MATLAB. So here I have j comma I comma 1 because j is number of columns. So columns are telling me the x coordinate, the horizontal coordinate, and I is y because it is telling me the vertical coordinates. So x, that is j, I, that is y, and 1 because there is a 1 because we are in homogeneous coordinates. So this is precisely this thing over here, x, y, 1. And since this is a column vector, hence I have used semicolon over here. So semicolon means go to the next row. So this makes this a column vector. This gets so this is first transformed by the translation matrix that we have seen over here. So this will first translate the image to the center, the origin to the center. So this will first get multiplied to this, and then it will get multiplied to the transformation matrix that we have. So this A matrix that we found out by our input, this A matrix, so that will come over here. And you get new. So new is a vector over here. So new, you can see, yes. So new again is a column vector over here, which is telling you the output coordinate of that particular pixel. So when this will be 1, 1 and 1, so for the first pixel over here, suppose, so it'll be 1, 1, 1, that will get multiplied over here. So then you will have to do x double dash upon w. So that will give you the actual x dash, that is the x coordinate of the output image, and y dash upon w, this should be y double dash actually, so a small mistake, right? So y double dash upon w, this will give you the actual y dash of that particular pixel. So one pixel over here will get transformed to this pixel over here, then the other pixel will get transformed somewhere over here, then say this nose pixel will get transformed over here, and the story. So you have to do this for all the pixels, for all the I comma j locations that you have. So for that there is this loop for all the pixels I, for I is equal to 1 to b1, for j is equal to 1 to b2, for all these pixels you have to do this transform and get this new variable. So this new will be this matrix, this x double dash, y double dash and w, these three things will come in new. And then what you have to do is basically say I have an out x which is telling me about the locations of all the x values, and out y will tell me the locations of the all y values. So here you can see that for out x, it is the first element of new 1 upon the third element of new 3. So first element upon the third element, that will give me x dash. So it will be clear over here. So the first element, that is x double dash, upon the third element, that is w. So that will give me x dash, and the second element upon the third element will give me x y dash. So that is what is written over here. For x it is first upon third, for y it is second upon third. So like this I get all the x dash and y dash for all the pixels in out x and out y. So out x, this is the x dash for the first pixel, x dash for the second pixel, x dash for the third pixel, like this is the whole matrix, and out y is having the y locations of all the pixels. So that is, we have got the x location and the y location for all this pixels. Now we just have to transform, that is, from one pixel over here we have to put the value. We know where the pixels have to go now, we just have to transfer them, that's it. So that is what we are going to do next. Also please see this round over here. So in reality, suppose I remove this round, and now let me run this particular section. So you will see that actually these coordinates are actually floating point numbers. So this is minus 310.1598, 308.6035. So these are having floating point values. But we know that in MATLAB we cannot have floating point values coordinates. So we cannot have, say, x of 1.5 comma 2.5. This is not possible, or 2.3. So this is not possible in MATLAB. We have to give integers over here. These should be integers. So because of that, what we'll have to do is we'll have to do round over here. So rounding of the coordinates, so that we can treat them as coordinates, the actual coordinates of MATLAB. So this is the round of result of our transformed matrix. So I guess this particular thing is clear now. Now let us go to the transformed image. So now that we know where which pixel should go, now we are just going to put the pixel values over there. So first, also you can see that in outx there are these minus values. So minus 315, minus 313. So in MATLAB, if you give a negative coordinate value, that will also give an error. So first, it is very important to make all these negative quantities positive. So for that, what you will have to do is you will have to add the minimum value. So if over here, say the minimum is minus 316, or else let us debug this step by step so that we understand. So I have to put a breakpoint over here. Let me do run section. So now we have the minimum outx value. So that is 211. So that is maximum, sorry. So minimum outx value, that is minus 316, and minimum outy value, that is minus 379. Now if I add all these minimum values, the absolute of all the minimum values, so that will make this particular all the elements of the outx positive. So let us see that quickly. So let me do outx plus minimum outx. Also let me do absolute, because if I have that negative sign, so that will create a problem. So if I do this, you can see in my answer variable, now you can see all the numbers have become positive. Now everything is positive over here. So also there is a 0. So to avoid this 0, we again add plus 1. So you can see all these notations over here. So now with these small changes, now the only thing that you have to do is you have to transform the pixel value. So A has the image, the whole image. So you have to transform the pixel value of A of I comma j. So before the transformation, the pixel was at I comma j. Now we have to transform it to this location, this new location that we have found it out now. So when you transform it to that location, your work is 90% done. I'll tell you why 90%, but it is done, 90% done. So let me run this particular section and let us see what f did we get. So this is a color image. So above I had mentioned this counter about A1. So if it is a color image, then only it will go into this particular if condition. If it is not a color image, then it will not go into this condition. So this is just to fill all the three planes. If it is a color image, then I have to do this operation for all the three planes, the first plane, the second RGB plane, that's it. And let us see the output till here. So now I have not run the other part of the code, I have just run the code till here, and let us see what value does f has. So f has our output. So let me do im show. Let me put a figure first. So figure im show. Let me convert this f to uint 8. Right. So over here you can see these things over here, these nulls over here. So these nulls are created because it is a transformation, and we did not put those what we say, we did round off. So because of that round off, these dots and these lines are created over here. So this is a problem again. Now we don't want these lines to be seen in our output. So for that, what we can do is we can do a interpolation. So for all these pixels over here, what we'll do is we can run a particular filter. So for now I'm using a median filter. So what I'm doing, I'm taking a 3x3 box over here for all these black pixels, and the median of these pixels will be put over here in this places of black. So that will complete our code. So that is the 10% that I was talking about. So I'll have to fill the gaps by using a median filter. So running the code again. So for I is equal to 1 to b1 now. So I'll take this size of f. So now you can see that the size of f is a little bit different, because it depends on the transformation, how you have transformed the particular image. That will tell you what this particular thing will be. And then just take the median of the neighborhood pixels. So I minus 1, j minus 1 is one neighbor, I minus 1, j is other neighbor. So like this we have the different neighbors over here. So we can take the neighbors and just take the median of that and put that in a pixel which is 0. So if that particular pixel location is 0, that means that it is a black pixel. Oh sorry, not this. So if these locations over here are 0, that means it is a pixel that is not filled. So that is rectified over here by a median filter. So now you can use different interpolation techniques. You can use the bicubic interpolation, you can use the uh, bilinear interpolation, you can use the different interpolations that we have. So for simplicity I have just taken the median filter for now. So if I run this section, and now if I show you the f, so now you can see that those lines that we saw earlier are now gone. But you can see some problems of the median filter. So if I zoom the image very much, you will see that there are these lines that are seen over here. So this defect is only because of the median filter. So you can use the different interpolation techniques, so you will get different results accordingly. So this the image quite looks good if you don't zoom in too much. So that is okay, it depends on how much good you want the image. And finally after that you can display the image. And you, so for the saving the thing, I asked for an input, do you want to save the image? And if I press 1, then there is this function ui put file. So we saw ui get file. Like this, there is a ui put file which is used for saving the images. So it will tell you what is the path of the saved folder location, what is the path of the file name, what is the file name of the image that you want to save. And then you can finally do I am right, and that will save the image for you. So that was all for this code. So you can run this code for different inputs, and you can see the different outputs that you have. So you can also give a very weird angle, say 672, and then see how the image is rotating. So like this you can give the different inputs and play with the code. So I hope you liked this video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much.